The lonely chapter is not a real thing. And you should stop listening to advice from 30, 40, or 50-year-old men who are completely frustrated in their late 30s or 40s or 50s, who go to a club and stare at barely legal 19-year-old girls because they live in absolute regrets and they think back to their 20s and they wish they could go back and just change what they did. Listen, man, you wouldn't listen to a fat person if they gave you fitness advice. And you should really pay attention to who you're listening to. I've been working in the info space for the last 2 years, and when you work at info, you know how to sell courses. You learn it, you teach it, you work with other people to sell a lot of courses, and people will say certain things on social media to make sure that you will buy their course. And sometimes they will need to break your internal beliefs to make sure that you will buy their course. Breaking somebody's belief is actually one of the most profitable things you can do in marketing. If I tell you that it's actually great that you're sitting at home and it's great that you're in isolation and you're on the right path and you're doing the perfect thing, and then you and me will build a great connection because I'm making you feel very comfortable. And that's what these guys do as well. Not only that, but you must understand that even creators and huge entrepreneurs who are on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, they have insecurities. And they will tell you stuff to make themselves feel better. And if you knew what I knew about what was actually going on behind the scenes with, I'm not talking about the little creators or the mediocre creators, I'm talking about the biggest guys in the space, you would delete Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. You wouldn't even watch this video. If you look at my phone, I actually don't have social media, and that's exactly why. Every single thing that you see online on social media is made to make you buy something. Here's the thing, I was quite isolated when I started in business. I was making a lot of money, I'm not gonna lie. I was not doing too unwell for my age. I was 19 years of age. I just came back from the biggest trip of my life, and I basically told my mom I'm gonna focus down and I'm just gonna build my business for the next year. And if I fail, I'll go to uni. If I succeed, then you'll leave me alone. This video is not supposed to go viral. It's not gonna have a high retention time, but here's the thing. I was isolated completely, and I didn't go out. I didn't speak to my friends. I didn't date. I didn't go out. I didn't go to dinners. I didn't meet with a lot of friends. I didn't really have a social life. Neither did I even meet any new people. The only focus that I had was actually business, and I thought that that was necessary because everybody on social media told me that it was, right? Monk mode, winter arc, or the lonely chapter. And they said, it's all right, this is part of the process, you'll get there. That's not true. You're not supposed to be lonely. You're not supposed to lose your old friends, and you're not supposed to let go of all of the people before. You're also not the product of the 5 people closest to you. I actually grew up with people who drink alcohol and smokers and drug addicts and everything. They were fun. They supported me all the way from the beginning until today. And here's the thing, the strongest belief wins. It's not the most common belief. What this means is, I always believed that I could build a business. I always believed that I could build a great physique, which is something that I did. I always believed that I could move out of Germany and just travel through the world and work from anywhere that I wanted without ever being stuck anywhere. And it worked. And instead of my friends convincing me to stop doing that, I convinced them to start building their personal brands. When I got 100,000 followers on Instagram, they're like, damn, how did you do that? I want to do that too. So they followed, and some of them started posting on social media. Others of them started to build their businesses, and they grew with me. It's the strongest belief that wins, not the most common. So why do so many people end up in loneliness? Why do so many people isolate? Well, not because it's necessary. Not because you're supposed to be isolated, because isolation is actually the most unhealthy thing ever. Matter of fact, it's more unhealthy than smoking. Like your age of death, the age where you die, it actually increases by it actually decreases by a lot more than when you would smoke every single day. So isolation is extremely unhealthy, and I made the least amount of money when I was most isolated and worked the most, and I made the most amount of money when I worked the least, and when I worked the least and when I had the best social life ever. Here is why. Isolation is not driven by drive or motivation or inspiration or dedication or discipline or any of that stuff. It's driven by anxiety. Now you're gonna think, what the fuck is this guy talking about? That doesn't make sense, does it? It does. When you are uncertain whether things are going to work out or not, no matter where you're at, whether you're at 10K, 20, 30, 40, 50K a month, 100K, a million a month, or even at zero, you have an unstoppable drive to keep running. Let's take a rat, for example. Rats will run very fast when they run towards something, but they will run even faster when they run away from something. So how does that apply? You will always keep running and never take a break, and never have time for your friends and family, and never have time for the people that are the dearest to you, and never actually take time to think, to actually make sure that you're running into the right direction, right? And you're not just running away from something, but you're actually running towards the thing that you actually want. And therefore, you will actually never stop running. You keep running. You work for 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day. You isolate yourself. You don't want to talk to anybody because you're not where you want to be, and you live in absolute shame and anxiety because you're not where you want to be. You think that as soon as you make that money, everything's going to change, and I'm going to have a great social life. I'm going to find new people. Hear me out, man. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. You're going to get to a point where you're going to make a lot of money, and you will realize the only people that I wanted to share that money with are gone because I treated them like trash. So the next time that anybody online tells you that the lonely chapter is okay, or monk mode, or any of that isolation stuff, think back to this video, because the more money I make, the more people I meet, and the more people I meet, the more I realize that there's a lot of people who make a lot of money, but they are incredibly unhappy. And it's not the usual stuff that you hear online, which is like, oh, I made all this money and now I'm lonely and all of that. It's not even about that. It's like, they're just not good people. They're not people you want to be around. They made their money, but women feel incredibly uncomfortable around them. People feel incredibly uncomfortable around them. They are deceitful. They are still driven by anxiety until this day. And that actually leads to them being fraudulent. You'll think that people who scam people online or who are fraudulent or any of that, those are bad people. But that's not the case. They're bad people because they scam people. But they don't scam people because they're bad people. They scam people because they're anxious that they won't be able to make it unless they scam people. Because if they could, they would do it in a truthful way. So if you keep that habit until the rest of your life, that is literally the perfect blueprint to become absolutely isolated, unhappy, lonely, and that is going to be the reason why you will look back on your life of the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 years and think, fuck, I spent the last 8 years building a miserable life that I hate. And you shouldn't do that. So what are you going to do instead? There's this thing that's called vulnerability. That I learned from a book by Mark Manson. Wait a minute. Models. Attract Women Through Honesty by Mark Manson. It's not only about dating, but he describes this concept as vulnerability. Vulnerability has nothing to do with you opening up and becoming emotional and telling people how you feel and talking about your emotions. Fuck that shit. That's not what I want to talk to you about. What I actually want to explain to you is vulnerability is the ability to pursue exactly what you desire without expecting anything in return. What does that mean? That means that you're supposed to open yourself up and be able to be rejected and be able to be judged. A lot of your friends will look at you and they won't understand what you're talking about at all. They'll treat you like, they'll literally think, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I can't solve your problems in business. How am I supposed to help you get clients? I don't know, like, don't complain. They won't understand you, but you're still allowed to open up and find common ground with your old friends. You're still allowed to go out with them and have fun. You're still allowed to be the exact person that you were before. You don't need to perform, because as soon as you try to perform, you become needy. And neediness is the reason why you feel lonely. Neediness is the reason why you stopped resonating with your old friends. It's neediness. You're trying to prove something, because again, you're anxious. You're anxious that it won't work out, because let's be real here. If you were 100% sure, like 100%, so sure that you see it, you believe it, and you can speak it out into the world, that you will be successful, and you will do all the things that you're putting out there, would you actually act the way in front of your friends that you're acting right now? You wouldn't. You would be more real, more vulnerable, and more fun to be around. So be more vulnerable. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. Talk whatever you want to talk about. Tell them the stories that you want to tell them about. If they ask how your business is running, tell them challenging. It's hard, it's tough, but I'm gonna make it. You should be a beacon of light for the people around you. Because imagine the joy that you can cause in somebody, in your friends, when you tell them every single time that it's challenging, but I'm gonna make it, versus thing that's bothering me in business, versus thing that's bothering me and I just can't make it. Like, it's really fucking hard, but I'm 100% sure that I'll make it through. And then a couple of months later, you tell them, yo, I actually achieved that thing. I solved that problem. I leveraged that opportunity. I achieved that goal. And here we come to the thing that I talked about. It is not the most common belief that sticks through. It is the strongest belief. And therefore, you should be vulnerable enough to show them that things are tough and what you're trying to do is very fucking risky and it's not normal. But you prove to them over and over and over and over again that it's doable. And you should model your life to do that, to be able to do that. I know a lot of people who work their asses off, 12-hour days, 16-hour days, 14-hour days. You might be that person. Be aware that the most successful people I know, the richest people I know, 20-year-olds making 100k a month, 200k a month, 300k a month, they work less than you. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care if you're making 100k a month and you're earning and you're working 12-hour days. You're not successful in my eyes. Sorry. Because your life is, I mean, listen, if you like working 12-hour days, kumbaya, enjoy your life, but you probably don't. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video until today. Because the lonely chapter affects you. Model your life. Make sure that, like, for example, a couple of years ago, I would do cold outreach every single day. I would send 50 DMs and send looms and all of that stuff, and I would get fuck all. Like, I would have no appointments, no calls, no nothing. I didn't know how to book calls, nothing, absolutely fucking nothing. I would wake up in the morning, sunrise, and I would sit on my computer and I would send cold outreach and I would go to bed, and then when I go to bed, I would realize, fuck, I sent so many messages today, I didn't get anything in return. that worked. I got some clients, but today I literally just, I upload videos. I upload stuff like this, literally just sit in front of the camera, send a video to my video editor, he edits it, we put it out, nurtures my audience from Instagram. And yeah, even though I have like 190 subscribers, this gets us clients. And I know that's crazy. So yeah, if you're in that loop of trying to get clients and just spending all that time to scale your business, it's not necessary. There's a video that I made about how to get clients through building your personal brand. I think it's called The Easiest Way to Get Clients. I'm gonna link it up here. And I hope I could help. And I thank you for your time. Bye-bye.